lot of things going on for Michigan. Obviously, they are prepping for the big game next week to play, or no, not next week. Next week? Yes, next week, next
Well,
Saturday.
good. Yeah. Good.
Um, yes, it is. Okay. I'm looking at the calendar. I'm like, wait a minute, it's 10 days away, math, all that good stuff. So, yeah, so getting ready. They've got a big matchup against TCU. They are obviously one of the four college football playoff teams and a shot to go to the national championship, which is uh, something that Michigan football hasn't done in quite a while. So, I trying to really put it into context is a bit difficult to do, but I mean, a Michigan win next week would be, I mean, monumental is probably the understatement of the century. I mean, it'd be huge. It really would be. And I mean, and when you look at, Vegas and the odds and things of that nature, I mean, Michigan's favored in the game. So if you take that into account, I mean, Michigan has a real chance to be in the national championship.
Yeah. So with the expectancy that they're going to win this game, and I think people are fairly confident. Even outside of Michigan circles, it seems like most people just believe Michigan's going to win. I have not seen anybody pick TCU to win this game. That TCU is not being discarded to a certain extent. I don't hear many people saying, "Oh, it's you know a game that TCU doesn't even belong in, shouldn't even be there." But there's just a high confidence level in Michigan football that even though this seems like um, it's all positive, just I wonder how much air is going to be let out of the program if they don't win.
It would, I would imagine it would be a lot, like a lot, because when you think about it, especially when it comes to the college football playoff, more often than not, that the number one seed ends up with a number four team where you essentially look at it and a lot of times, let's put it that way, a lot of times it's a clear separation of one through three and then the fourth team.
Yeah.
So for Michigan to be the number two seed, and I want to make sure I give TCU their due respect, but I would say this is an advantageous matchup for Michigan. Like, I'm not saying TCU is the equivalent of a four seed, although my partner Dre would say that he is not a believer in TCU, but to me, it's just not often that you get in as the number two seed. You obviously match up with the three seed, and you're playing a team that that most people would just say that you're going to beat. So it's just such an advantageous position. So yes, I would say to lose that would be take air out of the sail, so to speak. I mean, I think it'd be really tough to kind of, I don't want to say bounce back from it, but to just swallow that loss would be difficult.
And the reason I framed it that way was because of the way you, and I think accurately, built up where Michigan is and what a breakthrough this is going to be and all of that. But that it's also been kind of assumed that they're going to be playing for a national championship.
Yep. And I was someone who I mean, before the season started, I didn't think there was any reason Michigan couldn't be in the national championship game. Now, I wasn't predicting a win or anything like that, but I just looked at it with you see what they did last year, historic season last year, and returning a lot of guys who have had experience, who had that experience. So I thought it was something that with breaks going their way that they could definitely be in the national championship. And the interesting part is I honestly I would say that outside of the Illinois game, you really I wouldn't say there were any 50-50, quote unquote ball bounces that went Michigan's way because I'm a firm believer that to win a national championship, you just have to have a couple breaks go your way. And I don't really feel like really any big breaks have gone Michigan's way. Not that, just everything's been perfect for them, but just kind of those weird things that happen in football, none of them have been a 50-50 kind of gamble where it's had to go Michigan's way for them to win. Like I said, the Illinois game is probably the only thing I would really point to. But outside of that, I mean, there's nothing that really comes to mind. I guess I would put it that way.
As it turned out, what did the Illinois game really do? If they would have lost that game and everything else would have remained the same, they still might be the 2 seed.
Well, and then what? Worst case, probably the 3 seed, and then maybe
Yeah.
TCU's the 2 seed. So I mean, it's six of one,
Yeah.
half dozen of the
Yeah.
other.
They'd have a different jersey on. But again,
Yeah, so it's a unique spot. It's a unique position for Michigan, but I just think the way that the philosophy that of how they want to play football, how they want to play the game. I think they do a terrific job of complementary football. They like to run the ball, keep the defense fresh, and when they need to make plays, I think the defense does a terrific job of doing that. I haven't seen reports, I haven't dug in too much on Mike Morris of him coming back healthy. It sounds like obviously Blake Corum is going to be out for the game, and you know most likely his Michigan careers is probably going to be over. But even when you look at the health, I mean Michigan has been overall as a team pretty healthy. You look at your starting quarterback, JJ hasn't missed any time. We had, Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards have missed some time at different, points of the season, but it's just and maybe that's the Michigan break that they've had is health just in general. But I just it's a unique spot, and I'm fully expecting Michigan to come out and take care of business and win and be ready to play either Georgia or Ohio State.